ordinary families be able to stay in their homes, make sure that they can pay their bills, deal with critical issues like healthcare and energy. And we're going to have to change the culture in Washington so that lobbyists and special interests aren't driving the process and your voices aren't being drowned out. And Brokaw then sends a question over to McCain. McCain responds, I think it depends on what we do. I think if we act effectively and if we stabilize the housing market, which I believe we can, if we go out and buy up these bad loans so that people can have new mortgages at a new value for their home, I think we can get rid of the cronyism, there's another drinking game, and special interest influences in Washington so that we can act more effectively. The point is that we can fix our economy. America's workers are the best in the world. They're the fundamental aspect of America's economy. They're the most innovative. They're the best. We're the best exporters and best importers. They're the most effective. They're the best workers in the world. Okay, so let's go back. Original question asked, is it going to get worse and should we be prepared? Obama says, no, I don't think it's going to get worse, depending on who goes in the office. No, I don't think it's going to get worse. But we have to really take stock in Washington, which is a question that gets asked later on about why should we trust Washington? And he says later on, of course, no, you shouldn't trust us. Look at what we've done to our nation. And that's what I want to see fixed, blah, blah, blah. But that's not this question. He answers the question somewhat. I think that's a difficult question to answer on anybody's side. But he does a fair job of at least, saying this is what we have to do. Washington's got to stop being crazy, and we've got to help American families. McCain says that it depends. Okay, well, what does that mean? When somebody uses language like that soft language, it depends, it makes one wonder, okay, well, it depends. Well, what does it depend on? And he goes on to restate the whole housing market and buying up the loans, which is off topic. That's not really what was asked. And then he uses this word cronyism, which he uses at least 4 more times, maybe more. And he directly uses it towards Obama several times. He calls, Obama and his cronies in the Democrat Party, which is really funny. So, tip of the hat, wag of the finger. Thanks, Colbert. And then he goes on to just, spout out. This goes back to the whole the theoretic idea of pulling on the heartstrings. He starts talking about America, and America's strong, and America's good workers, and it's just like, that's not the answer, dude. Just give me an answer. That's all I want. So let's move on to the next question. And throughout the whole thing, this was a really funny debate last night because they were supposed to only have a 2-minute answer and then a 1-minute follow-up, and they were going like 5-minute answers and then 3-minute follow-ups, and Tom Brokaw just starts talking about how they're going to go into deficit in time greater than the federal spending, which that was pretty funny. So let's move on so that we don't go into a time deficit. There are new economic realities out there that everyone in the hall and across the country understands that are going to have the same, some choices to be made. Health policies, energy policies, and entitlement reform. What are going to be the priorities and in what order? Which of those will be the highest priority of your first year in office and which will follow in sequence? Senator McCain says, what are the 3 priorities? And so he has to repeat what the 3 priorities are. McCain answers, I think we can work on all 3 at once, Tom. I think it's very important that we reform our entitlement programs. My friends, we're not going to be able to provide the same benefit to present-day workers that present-day retirees have today. That sentence makes no sense to me. I'm really sorry, but I had to highlight it because it had my friends in it. I know, so Another one. Okay, I know that how to do that. I have a clear record of reaching across the aisle, whether it be Joe Lieberman or Russ Feingold or Ted Kennedy or others. That's my clear record. And we have to have all of the above: alternate fuels, wind, tide, solar, natural gas, clean coal technology. My friends, some of the 700 billions ends up in the hands of terrorist organizations, but all of them can be done at once. And it gets sent over to Senator Obama. We're going to have to do some prioritizing, just like a family has to prioritize. Now, I've listed the things that I think have to be at the top of the list. Energy we have to deal with today because we are paying $3.80 here in Nashville for gasoline. It's $4 here in Asheville, which he was just in. Of course, you know that, just last Sunday. And it could go up, and a strain on your family's budget. But it's also bad for our national security because countries like Russia, Venezuela, and in some cases countries like Iran are benefiting from high oil prices. And we can do it. Now, when JFK said we're going to the moon in 10 years, nobody was sure how to do it, but we understood that if American people make a decision to do something, it gets done. So that would be my priority number one. Healthcare is priority number two, because that broken healthcare system is bad not only for families, but it's making our businesses less competitive. And number three, we've got to deal with education so that our young people are competitive in a global market.